Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now May 9th of 2021, and ever since the very end of The Mandalorian Season 2's finale, a lot of fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney, Lucasfilm, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, you name it, and exactly what's coming our way for the future of Star Wars. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that Disney is, of course, working on is that they are currently working heavily on Star Wars Andor. I'm sure that a lot of you have seen the Andor set leaks that are actually surfacing right now, as well as, a lot of other projects that are coming into fruition, such as the, of course, Bad Batch that's happening as we speak, episode by episode releasing. We've also got, of course, the Book of Boba Fett coming out later this year. That's about to wrap production in just a couple of weeks from now, so that's another thing to look forward to. So there's a lot coming our way, not just for this year, but also next year in 2022. However, when it all boils down to creator Jon Favreau, this is the man that's really hard at work and really putting everything together to really create an attempt to really win back a lot of the lost Star Wars fans. We're talking about the ones that walked away from the sequel trilogy, the ones that saw The Rise of Skywalker and said, Star Wars no more. So those are the exact type of fans that Jon Favreau wants to convince and bring back into the universe in order to make it just as relevant as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In Jon Favreau's mind, obviously Marvel is outperforming Star Wars as far as the fans' expectations go and exactly what they are receiving. So when we go ahead and examine what's happening with the overall franchise right now, well, there's a lot of changes being made behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm, especially for not just The Mandalorian, but also for Rangers and other TV shows that have yet to be announced. Now, specifically, of course, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are focused on their new shows, such as Star Wars Kenobi, Ahsoka, Andor, plus more to come, it's best described that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are also hard at work on developing the Mandalorian series as well. However, it's described that Jon Favreau has been making drastic changes behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm and recently ended many of the residual plans that were left over. It's described that in a recent interview, Jon Favreau was able to confirm that he had ended a major plan by Kathleen Kennedy. Jon Favreau went on to state that initially Kathleen Kennedy had plans to create ancient ties between the High Republic era and The Mandalorian and how it would actually serve the story for the third season in surprising ways. Now, Jon Favreau goes on to state that Kennedy wanted to mix two eras of the universe together that would ultimately help our characters' adventures and their journey to gather the intel that they would need for such missions in Mando's future seasons. Jon Favreau was able to confirm that he later did a complete 180 with these plans by Kathleen Kennedy and felt it was right to exclude the High Republic material and master plan from the Mandalorian series, as he felt that this era is a very new era and he was on edge of whether or not the fans would accept an unfamiliar time entering into the Mandalorian show that would help guide characters like Din Djarin and Grogu in unexpected ways. Now, Jon Favreau also reveals that he has no intention to combine the High Republic era with The Mandalorian again, as initially planned by Kathleen Kennedy, and that this is something that he just did not agree on. Behind the scenes, it's best described that Gio the Rock was set to also play a major role in Mandalorian Season 3 before Jon Favreau cut it from the series. And that just goes to show you everything, that Kathleen Kennedy just wants the High Republic to have some type of connection to every single show that's being made, as we could mention. Now, The Mandalorian best works on its own. It does. It's a post-Return of the Jedi era, and that's exactly how it should remain. Now, what they wanted to do to Jon Favreau's creation, is incorporate the High Republic era to have what was described as ancient ties. This most likely had something to do with Din Djarin and Grogu and others out there exploring ancient parts of the galaxy and unveiling new secrets of the Jedi and the Force that would lead to them obtaining perhaps specific special objects, who knows. what kind of journey they're going to go on. But the initial plan that Kathleen Kennedy was pushing and that the Disney higher-ups were pushing was the High Republic era to have major implications on the Mandalorian series in a post-Return of the Jedi timeline. So that, once again, it goes to show you that Kathleen Kennedy really is trying to incorporate her creation into almost everything that we have seen. Now, Kathleen Kennedy is still working on the Acolyte series. Let's not forget about this, is that the Acolyte TV show is going to also be a High Republic-oriented series. Now, that is actually going to take place at the very end of the High Republic, mind you. It's not going to be in the beginning or middle. It takes place at the very end of that timeline, giving the fans a little bit of a different perspective on everything that there has to do with Force users. Now, the thing that Jon Favreau said that really does make me all the more happier is how he ended all of this. None of this will be incorporated into The Mandalorian Season 3, and you know what? He was right that, yes, this is a new era, and yes, it is an unfamiliar time, or timeline, that fans may not be all that familiar with, and could very well be a little bit tricky of incorporating that into the story for the Mandalorian series. Again, like I say, for Mando Season 2, it was a great idea to throw in the philosophy of the Jedi and to throw in Din Djarin's mission to bring in Grogu to the Jedi. I mean, I like that. That was very interesting. What Kathleen Kennedy wanted to push was for Din Djarin and his friends to go on these journeys or these adventures that would lead them to ancient High Republic era locations that would connect to the overall new books, novels, and comics and more, even the Acolyte TV show. So I'm glad that Jon Favreau put that all to rest and ended it and is now just focusing on his thing. Thankfully, Kathleen Kennedy has no creative power, only for the Acolyte TV series until sometime in June, which is when they plan to actually pretty much complete the scripts and begin filming for the series, and they want to push this thing out by 2022. I still don't think that they're going to make that time, but we'll have to wait and see. Jon Favreau is also working on the Reformed Rangers of the New Republic series. This is also a big deal because he's actually throwing in another main character, and this main character is going to be a beloved character in Star Wars. It's not going to be an unknown. It's going to be a character that we're all familiar with. It's very possible to be, Syndulla, or perhaps maybe even Leia. There's been a lot of talk out there that it could very well be one of those two that's going to be the main character of the reformed version of Rangers of the New Republic. So, once again, this fall, a lot of major announcements are indeed coming our way. This is going to be a big deal because that's when we're going to get more TV show announcements, and that's also when there's also going to be other announcements on the business end of things for Lucasfilm. There's going to be a lot of changes coming our way during the months of November and December, so keep your eyes open for those 2 months. They're going to be very important to be aware of, and it's going to really give the fans a little bit more hope about what's coming for the overall Star Wars universe. And I think that obviously, given that Kathleen Kennedy has been pushing this High Republic thing, it's just not working for the fans. We see what's happening on the internet, and we also see how very little fans seem to be engaged or religiously reading the High Republic material. So yeah, guys, like I say, let me know what you think about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.